after something I know money couldn't help. Always starving for my purpose, maybe I ain't found it yet. Honest questions with my mirror, all these things you think you want, will they ever be enough?
Hello, it's Amy. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about motivation and losing motivation when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, lost, all of the above. I don't know why I'm holding a pen. It's like I'm about to teach a class or something. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, I'm gonna center it on YouTube as a main topic, but this can apply to anything in life. Ouch. Absolutely anything. Like any project, any challenge in your life. Hope that I can kind of make it relatable in that way. I'm gonna be talking about like the good, the bad, the struggles, and then like tips and motivation tips for small YouTubers. Again, it can be applied to anything. This video isn't intended to like complain or anything about YouTube. I love it. So it's not a complaining video, even though it may come off a little rambly, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I don't have a ton of experience, so I'm just speaking based off of like what I've experienced, but definitely want to give credit where it's due. There have been people who have been doing this for longer than I have and who have way more experience and can speak to it more than I can. And it was on my mind for so long that I thought I would make a video and talk about it because that's what my channel is for. Straight into the good of YouTube and all the pros of being a small YouTuber. Like the biggest pro that I've experienced is definitely meeting other people and connecting to new people, even if it's over the internet. Being able to have those meaningful conversations about topics that you're passionate about and being able to open up on the internet, I think pretty positive thing, only because you get to connect with like-minded individuals. I'm passionate about this kind of content. I'm passionate about the topics that I talk about as it relates to you. You know when you are passionate about something, right? You can feel it from the tips of your fingers all throughout your body. As weird as that sounds, you know when you're passionate about something. It's what excites you for life. It's what makes you want to wake up in the morning. I love learning about creating videos. I love actually doing it. I love editing, and I love talking about certain things with my friends or with other people, or even to myself. Not to myself, but to the camera. It's what I'm passionate about and I love it. So that is a huge pro, obviously. Another thing about being a small YouTuber is that it definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. I feel like I grew a lot. I feel like I'm always learning. I have so much more to learn. It's a great creative outlet because it's for a lot of us non-celebrities and non-famous people to post our work out there and connect to other people. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. It's like creating your own space. It's something you customize and you edit, and it makes you feel very seen and heard, and it's just overall a really great thing to be even a small YouTuber. You know, you have that as your space. Last but not least, for the pros, oh gosh, I can't deal with my hair, is that it is fun. I sounded kind of sarcastic, but I really mean that. Like, it's so fun. It's kind of like the point behind why people even start it in the first place, right? It's because it's fun. It's a fun hobby, and if you're able to do what you love for a living, that is like the most amazing thing that can happen. It helps me just kind of escape from daily life and, you know, all the stresses that come with it. Hopefully all of us who do it generally enjoy it, right? Because that's really kind of sometimes the only thing that keeps me going. And it's something that I can get lost in. I can honestly spend hours and hours doing it, and I get in the zone, especially with editing and whatnot. Hours fly by and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize. It's really fun to you. That's definitely important, and it's definitely a pro of being a small YouTuber or a YouTuber. I'm gonna dive right into the cons, or the honest struggles of being a small YouTuber, again from my experience. Hopefully you can relate it to something specific in your life if it's not YouTube for you. The one obvious struggle, maybe you're already thinking about it in your head right now before I say it, but it's going to be the hate that you are inevitably going to get. Why do people hate online? I'll tell you why. Because it's extremely easy. You can hide behind an avatar, an anonymous fake account, and say whatever it is you want to do, whether you mean it or not. Not you, but like the person is just like being a troll, right? That's why they're called a troll. It's funny because though it's so easy to do, be a troll and to spread hate, especially on YouTube, I feel, it actually really impacts people. In the beginning, when I first started doing this, and I was doing it completely for fun, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing. I got like so much hate in the beginning, and I spent like hours crying about it. I couldn't grasp like why people would hate on me just in my kitchen making egg tarts. You probably don't know what I'm talking about because I privated every single one of all of my old videos because of that hate. And that was just me starting out, and just so down from it. Even if people are just hating for fun and they're mindlessly doing it, what it does is it makes us kind of overthink, like, oh my gosh, you know, did I offend anyone? You know, my editing must suck. I probably suck, you know, I probably did this wrong. So it's interesting that YouTube kind of allows that. Another one of the biggest struggles of being a small YouTuber would have to be the time that it takes to do everything, right? People might think it's just the filming and the editing. No. It's a lot more than that. Speaking of the filming and editing itself, it's crazy. You can film for 5 hours and you can edit for days, and it will be 4 minutes of footage, and then people will watch maybe like 1 minute or 30 seconds of that footage. You know, when you do the math, it's just like you are putting in an incredibly, amazingly huge amount of work for potentially no reward, and that's something that you just have to like accept before you kind of be consistent and move forward in your YouTube journey. And I'm gonna kick it back to real life, right? Like, you can spend so much of your time doing something and you will not get paid for it, or you won't get reward, or you won't get recognition, you won't get like whatever it is that you were hoping to kind of get as an end result, and that's just part of the process. Don't let that bring your motivation down. Balancing a stressful full-time job, your social life, your personal life, which itself can be pretty hectic sometimes, in addition to maybe if you're studying or doing other kinds of things with your career, and putting YouTube on top of all that, especially if you're trying to take it seriously, all of that is just, it takes up so much time, right? It's not always just about the filming and editing. There's so many like behind the scenes aspects of it that is really time consuming. So if you want to be a small YouTuber or a YouTuber, it's gonna take up a lot of your time. Requires a lot of patience, and because of that it can be a little bit discouraging, especially in the beginning. For example, I'm not going to talk about me and someone else. Let's say they're like an amazing content creator and they spend like so long, you know, editing and crafting their content, and then nobody watches it. You can imagine that's discouraging, and that's just kind of how like YouTube and the algorithm and just everything works on the platform. If you are eventually trying to like grow your channel, you have to keep in mind, of course, what the audience is interested in. Find that perfect medium between what you're interested in and hopefully what someone else would want to watch and spend their time, their precious time, viewing your video. And it can be hard to find that balance, because sometimes what you were passionate about, like, it sucks, but nobody's gonna care about it. You know, I know what that feels like. That can take away a little bit from the experience. At least for me, when things get really overwhelming, I definitely lose motivation actually, which is kind of like backwards. I definitely wanted to segue that perfectly into the most important part of my video, which is going to be about the motivation piece. So before I go into that, for anybody who cares, I just wanted to rant a little bit too. Actually, I had quit my old full-time job. I was at my job for more than 3 years, straight out of college, and I had recently quit, and then right away, with zero break in between, I started a new job. Getting acclimated to a completely new job with completely new people has been so tiring, and I'm still very much new, and I don't want to like talk too much about it, but basically that took up like a lot of my mental energy. That's actually kind of like the primary motivator behind this video. Everything sounds kind of backwards, like I didn't have any energy and I didn't have any motivation after everything. Somehow that motivated me to make a video on motivation. So I hope that makes sense. But anyways, I'm going to be providing tips, like I said, to hopefully combat all of the above that I just mentioned. Hopefully it's relatable. If not, I'm sure you already clicked out of this video. If you're still here, hello, let's continue. First tip is that you have to have a bigger purpose to everything it is that you're struggling through. Success looks different for everyone, so you have to define what that looks like for you. Make that your bigger purpose, your bigger goal, and if you're working towards that, it will feel like less overwhelming because you know that you're eventually working towards something. If you obviously don't have like a kind of clear picture of what it is that you want at the end of all of this, then it will be very blurry as to why you're even doing this in the first place. But once I kind of define that success and that clear picture of what it is I want, that's going to be my goal, and that's what I'm going to work towards, and that is what is going to keep my motivation up and running. And on that note, it's super important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it is. Every single small achievement, celebrate it, be proud of it, and know that that's an accomplishment. Next, it's okay to take a break, to recharge. You really need to take that time. Just like all of our beautiful electronics, they always have to recharge, so do you. And that's extremely important to obviously avoid burnout and everything. I'm sure you already know about that, but I'm gonna remind you anyways. Take a break. This, okay, oh, my voice. So this is super important, is to not focus on the negative. And the reason why I'm mentioning this one is because in the struggles portion of the video, I talked about the negativity and the inevitable hate that will come on this platform. So if you focus on the negative so much like I did in the beginning, that is gonna impact and mess with you so much. Don't think about the negative so much. I mean, hard not to, right? It's very in your face. But if you eventually start to focus more on the positive, that motivates and inspires you, right? Because other small YouTubers, and not just small YouTubers, but my friends and random people who stop by my videos or stop by to support, all of those people inspire me, and it encourages me and it motivates me. The love and support that you get, no matter like in what capacity, those are always the most important. Those are your people, not the negativity and all of that irrelevant noise. So the next tip is to have fun with it. Have fun with everything that you do, you know, especially if it's your side hobby. Be excited about it. Remember why you did it in the first place. So another thing, and this can be very specific to YouTube, is stop thinking about your subscribers as just numbers. You have to start thinking of them as real people, because that's what they are. They're real people who are clicking on your video and taking the time out of their day to watch it and to potentially support it. Even if you just reach one other person, and this is kind of how I think about it too lately, if I'm just able to like connect and reach one other person and actually genuinely impact something about even their day, like that is a win. By starting to not think of your subscribers as just a number and being obsessed after that number and thinking of them as real people and real connections, that I think definitely helps with the motivation aspect of it behind doing all of this kind of work. It's important because we live in a very numbers driven world, right? Everything is about the metrics, everything is about numbers. Stop thinking about it as another number that you have to hit. Think of it as people that you are trying to build a community around. So another tip is organization, and I'm mentioning this because I mentioned the whole time-consuming aspect and struggle of being a small YouTuber. Organization is the most important thing. It will literally save you and make it so much easier to keep on going and find your motivation. For me, you know, I use my calendar. My calendar is my life, and I'm not even like that consistent really as much as I want to, just because it just genuinely really is that hard. You're juggling so much, and YouTube isn't your full-time job, or your hobby isn't your full-time life. You have to be organized in order to get it done, and that's just a fact. And set out like little goals for yourself along the way. The last point here is to just know that motivation comes and goes. It could be gone tomorrow, it could be gone the next day. That's natural, it's normal, it's part of life, right? We all know that. I'm gonna remind you anyways. It's just not realistic to be motivated all the time. The most important thing out of that last note here is to be consistent. Even if you want to give up with whatever it is that comes to mind when I say that, you can't, okay? You just can't. Motivation is not a constant in your life, but your attitude towards it definitely can be, and you have to commit to something if you really want it in order to get it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful. If you're not a small YouTuber, this can apply to absolutely anything in your life, so hopefully it does help. If it didn't, I'm sorry. Just know that you are not alone in any of these kinds of struggles. Right, I love you guys. I hope to have more content out soon, not just like these chatty kind of heart-to-heart videos that I've been doing, although I love doing them. I want to mix in other kinds of things. To stay tuned, click the subscribe button. I'm just advertising myself, I'm so annoying. You can also hit the like button to also help a small YouTuber out. Hope you have a great rest of your week, weekend, month, year, everything. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, alright, bye!